So today I've decided I'm going to tell you my birth story for my youngest daughter Liliana, who's 7 weeks old. I don't want this video to be too terribly long, so let's just get right into it. I was induced, so I went in to be induced at midnight. And, okay, first of all, let me say, before I get too into this, that I don't know the exact times of things. Unfortunately, I didn't have a camera at the time, so I did not get to film my delivery and labor and all of that, or labor and delivery. So, yeah, so I just have to kind of go from memory. It's a little blurry because I was a little quite drugged. But, anywho, let's get back to it. I was induced, so I went in at midnight. It took a lot longer than I thought it would for them to get us back there because I did pre-register, but it took absolutely forever. They just asked me these same questions again. But anyway, so I finally got back there, and she went ahead and started me on the antibiotics, which took her forever to get the IV in, which sucked. But anyway, so she finally got that. My nurse was super sweet. And she got that, started my antibiotics, because I had to have those. And let's see, I think it was, so I finally got on the antibiotics probably at like 1:30 in the morning. And she came back in, or no, she hooked me up to the monitors. Sorry, my memory's a little fuzzy. She hooked me up to the monitors and, saw that I was having contractions. They were about 8 minutes apart, so she went ahead and checked me, and I was 4 centimeters dilated. But I wasn't feeling anything at that time. I wasn't having any pain or anything like that. And, I was So I was hooked up to the antibiotics, and nothing really happened at that point. She came back in at probably like 4 and started my Pitocin. At 4:30, I was having some pretty intense contractions. And unfortunately, my fiance is a very heavy sleeper, and I could not wake him up. So I had to just kind of lay there by myself and try to get through the pain alone, which was pretty hard. I cried quite a bit, but I made it. So probably at I think 5, I was in such bad pain. Like, I was just crying. I was in such bad pain. But finally the nurse gave me some pain meds through my IV, and I immediately started feeling better and super high. So I tried to go to sleep. Probably about 15 minutes after I got the medicine, my mom came. And, she let me sleep, so I just went and took me a nap. And I took a nap. I woke up at probably, I'd say, like 8 in the morning. And I was feeling pain again, so the medicine had wore off. And it wasn't, like, too terrible. It was just, it definitely was uncomfortable. It woke me up, so I had the pain and everything. And, I really don't think they checked me anymore at this point. But yeah, she told me that I could have the epidural whenever I wanted to. But with my first daughter, I got the epidural and it wore off while I was pushing. So I was scared to get it too early, so I decided, I'm going to stick this out as long as I possibly can. That way it does not wear off when I'm pushing. So the pain finally got super intense at probably, I would say, around like 9:30, 9:45, something like that. Most to the point, like, it was taking my breath away. I told Nathan that I do not remember it being that bad with Carly. I mean, I know it was bad, but not to the point where I literally felt like I could not breathe because I was in such bad pain. There was a point where I literally felt like I was going to pass out because I was in such terrible pain. But so I finally got the epidural, or asked for the epidural. It took probably 20 or 30 minutes for them to actually be able to get to me and give me the epidural. But anyway, so when I finally got that, I felt, after probably 15-20 minutes, I felt a lot better. So I decided that I was going to take a nap and relax because the past couple hours were absolute hell. So I was going to relax a little bit. So I decided to take a nap, and this is where it gets a little bit crazy. I woke up to like the nurse just kind of moving the monitor around, pushing on my stomach. and things like that. And at this point, I was laying on my side, and she was just kind of pushing on my stomach and all that. And so it woke me up. And she told me, she was like, I, am having trouble getting the baby's heart onto the monitor. And I was like, okay. My mom was in there at that time. It was my mom and it was Nathan. They were in there. And of course, me. And my mom was getting irritated. Or they both was. My mom and Nathan were both getting irritated. Because they said that the woman had been like trying to get the heart back on the monitor for like a good 20 to 30 minutes. So they were getting pretty frustrated. Is somebody at my house? Maybe not. But anyway, so they were getting frustrated. And so finally my mom, told the nurse, she was like, okay, you've been doing this for quite some time. Don't you think maybe you should try something else just to make sure that the baby's okay? Mama told her, I'm getting a little bit worried now, So the nurse was finally like, yeah, okay. Well, she told me, she's like, I'm going to flip you over onto your back. And then I'm going to insert an internal monitor. I think that's what it's called. And I was like, okay. So, got me flipped over. She went down there to do all that, lifted up my blanket, and she just like gasped. And like it scared me, you don't want somebody to like gasp when they're going down there and you're pregnant and stuff, or you're in labor. It's kind of scary. But anyway, so she gasped and her face was just like sheer panic. She ran and like, I don't know, I guess like hit a little button or something that, emergency button, I don't know, but all I know is my mom took off running out the door. Nathan, my fiance, ran to me and he was completely freaking out, which made me freak out because I still had no idea what was going on because everybody, I guess, kind of forgot to let me know what was happening. But all of a sudden, like, all kinds of nurses and stuff ran in. And, I was still saying, what is wrong? And finally, they told me, or my nurse told me, the baby's out, but just try to stay calm, which is really hard to do. Because in my head, all I could think of was I was on my side. Like, how the heck, did she come out when I was on my side? Like, is she okay? Did I squish her? Did I suffocate her? Like, is the cord around her neck? I was very scared. It was really scary. But the nurses, like a bunch of nurses came in, and the doctor came in. They picked up Liliana, and as soon as they picked her up, she started screaming. Which made me feel much better just to hear her and know that, she could cry at least, so she was hopefully okay. And, I was still panicking, and I just kept asking, is she okay? Is she okay? And they laid her on my chest, and they were like, honey, she's fine. She's fine. The only thing is just that her temperature was pretty low, they said, so unfortunately my family didn't get to hold her for, actually I don't really think anybody except me got to hold her the first day. I think Nathan got to hold her that night, and his parents held her a little bit, but probably like 5 minutes apiece, and that was pretty much it because her temperature was so low that they just wanted her doing skin to skin with me, just try to get her temperature up. And then as soon as her temperature got up, they wanted me to feed her. And honestly, I did not really, I liked the hospital that I went to, but at the same time, I didn't, because after, her temperature got okay and all that, and I fed her, I only fed her for 10 minutes, because that's all I could get her to do. She had troubles latching on in the beginning. Thank goodness she's much better at it now. But she had problems latching on, and so I only got to feed her for about 10 minutes. But my nurse was like, that's okay, we're going to take her out and take her to the nursery. I was like, okay. I did not get my baby back for probably like a good 6 hours probably. And I was getting so freaking mad. Like, I kept freaking calling the damn nurse in there, and she'd come in and be like, do you know when I'm going to get my child? And she would just be like, I think they're almost done. That's what she would tell me every time. They're almost done. And that's what I heard for 6 hours. I was getting super mad. And then another thing that they did is, I think it was the first night, like, I fed her, she woke up, I fed her, and I could not get her to go back to sleep, and I was just so tired. Nathan was asleep. I was exhausted. So I called my nurse and asked her if she'd take her to the nursery. I was supposed to, I don't remember, like I was supposed to feed her again at 8:30 in the morning. I think it, no, 7:30 in the morning. I woke up at 8:30 and she was still not in there. So I had to call them and be like, hey, my baby needs to eat. Can you please bring her in here to me? And they were like, oh yeah, sorry, we forgot. Like, what the hell? So, yeah, that really frustrated me about my hospital. But anywho, back to all the other junk. But yeah, she was okay, thank goodness. I mean, I feel like that could have went really bad, but thankfully it didn't. Thankfully my mom said something so the woman wouldn't have just, or so she actually went down there and lifted up the cover, because I feel like my mom wouldn't have said something in that moment, it could have went really bad. But it makes me want to cry when I think about how it could went, so I try not to think about that. I just try to be positive and think it went okay, she's here. But that is definitely not how I expected my birth to go. I just feel like a lot of things went wrong with the whole thing. I'm not sure, obviously, but I feel like the epidural messed up my back because I've never had back problems. And now all of a sudden I have terrible back problems. And with Carly, I don't remember the epidural hurting like when they did it. I felt like a little sting. That was it. Whenever they did it with Liliana, it hurt. Like, it hurt. I don't know, it just felt weird when you did it, and it hurt really bad. And now I just have really bad back problems. So I feel like just kind of the whole thing just did not go good at all, but all that matters is that my daughter's here. She's healthy. She weighed 7 pounds, 5 ounces. I think she was maybe 20 inches long, I think. I can't remember. I get hers and Carly's mixed up, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, all that matters is that she's here and she's okay. So, but anyways, that is my super crazy birth story, or labor and delivery story. So I hope you guys like it. If so, give my video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. Thanks guys. Bye.